Howdy folks, how are y'all doing? My name is Cub and welcome to my speed guide for getting started in Sky Factory 3. I already created like a full, more in-depth guide, however it was like an hour long and I know some people wanted something a little bit shorter, so I decided to take that footage, compress it, talk as fast as I can, and try to get the same information out to you. So, you're going to start in the world of Sky Factory 3. The very first thing you're going to do is take inventory of what you got in your inventory, including the achievement book. Now that's going to come in really handy later, especially if you get lost or confused. It's really useful. Now, one of the bugs in the current version, I hope it gets fixed soon, is if you try to change pages in the book, it will interfere with JEI and it just brings this up. In order to fix that, just type some gibberish in JEI down there in the search bar, and once you've done that, you will be able to actually click through the book. Next up, you're going to want to start digging down into the tree, only break a couple of blocks, and then go ahead and take those logs, turn them into planks, turn those planks into a crafting table, and then make yourself a crafting station. Now plunk that down anywhere. I chose on top of the tree. Get inside there, turn those planks into sticks, and make yourself a crook. Use the crook to break the first couple of levels of leaves. The crook will increase the drop rate of things like worms and saplings and apples. Get your crafting station after you've broke the first couple levels of leaves. Go down to dirt, but don't break the dirt block. Use your crafting station as another block to stand on, and then go ahead and create yourself some more planks, and then create yourself some slabs. Use the slabs to extend the area you can walk on. I recommend putting them on the bottom layer so the monsters can't spawn on them, as you can see here. Now go ahead and continue to expand this platform out until you got it underneath all the leaves above you. Now there's a mod in this pack, I can't remember what it's called, but it's very similar to Vein Mine. You can hold down the grave key, which is just above tab and below escape, to break everything in one go, as you can see there. It's very handy, speeds things up a lot. At this point, you can go ahead and look in your achievement book, check off the things you've got, see what you've got coming up. This is a great way to keep track of what it is you're doing, and if you don't know what you're doing, it'll give you some cool hints. Now you can spam the shift button to twerk. It gets the trees excited and they grow a little bit faster. Continue to vein mine, make sure things don't fall off the edge as they did there. Also, you don't have to vein mine using a tool. You can use any item in your inventory. Also, it's not called vein mining. I don't remember what the tool is called. At this point, you're going to continue to do this until you get a good supply of saplings, a good supply of wood, a good supply of apples, a good supply of worms, and it's going to take a little while. However, it's going to be well worth it. You need to start expanding your platform. You want to get enough space to add some more dirt blocks so you can get some more trees planted. Speaking of dirt, in order to do that, you need to make a composting wooden barrel. Just place that down anywhere you'd like to in the world. I personally like to defy gravity and just lean over the edge. And now put any type of organic material into the barrel. That includes worms, that includes saplings. If you want to, you can build a hammer using wood and sticks. You can break the trees. That will give you some wood chips. The wood chippings can also be used in the composting barrel. If you have a spare sapling, make sure it's a spare one. You can build some wooden shears. You can use the wooden shears to break the leaves in the trees. Again, make sure you have some spare saplings because you will not get any by doing this, but then you can collect your dirt out of the composting barrel, and then you can use leaves as composting as well. These are just some great ways to speed up the creation of dirt. Now at this point, you're going to need to create more dirt, you're going to need to create more saplings, as many as your heart desires, and continue to expand the base, build some more composting barrels. It'll really help speed things up. And if you get the chance and you have the spare wood, build a nice ledge so you don't fall off the edge. Railing, ledge, whatever. Now go ahead and use your silkworms to infest the leaves. Once they're fully 100% infested, they'll be completely white, and you can break them using a crook. I'd recommend at this point going ahead and building the compressed crooks. It's 4 crooks in one, has much better durability. You can break the infested leaves and it'll get you a lot of string. Use the string to create a mesh. There's other meshes, we'll talk about those later. Then you're going to need to create a sieve, a sieve, a sieve. Doesn't matter how you say it. We're going to go with sieve for the purpose of this video because no one seems to know. Place it down and then just right click your mesh into there. Now at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to need to get some of the dirt you've been composting. You're going to sift it through there like you're panning for gold, and you're going to hear some ticking sounds. That's you collecting items. You're going to get seeds from this, but what you're actually looking for is stone pebbles. 4 of those will create a cobblestone. This is how you get cobblestone early in the game, and trust me, you're going to need a lot of it, which means you're going to spend a lot of time doing this very repetitive task. Now at this point, it should have either rained and filled up your barrels with water. If not, you can make some oak crucibles, as you see here. Place them down, fill them with any kind of organic material, but instead of creating dirt, they will create water. That's how you can get some water early game if it doesn't rain. Now, at this point, just continue to create more dirt, continue to sift the dirt in order to get more cobblestone. Here's a tip. You can put a lot of these together, I think in a 5x5 grid at the most, and then it'll sift multiple pieces of dirt at once. It definitely speeds up the early game a lot, and the later game for that matter. Really good tip there. Once you have enough cobblestone, build a furnace. You're going to need it. Go ahead and use 2 sticks to create a piece of charcoal. Use the 1 piece of charcoal to create 8 more pieces of charcoal. Break that piece of charcoal down into 8 mini charcoals. That way you won't ever waste charcoal when you need to just cook up 1 item. That's Hey, that's tip of the day right there for you, right? Okay. Now you're going to need to build a cobblestone generator. You could put down some water and some lava and break it all manually, but for some reason, Sky Factory 3, everything is very flammable. So I'd recommend building this machine. It does it all for you. And in order to do this, you're going to need some buckets to hold the lava and the water. Now, in order to do the lava, you're going to have to get some porcelain clay, and so you can build an unfired crucible, which is going to require that you have some clay first off, which is easy, and some bone meal. Now, bone meal is a little bit more tricky. You can get it by sifting dust, and I think there's like a 20% chance, which is pretty okay. But another way you can do it is just by building a monster spawner, which I recommend because you're going to need things from monsters later anyway, and it's going to be better off for you in the long run. Now, in order to get the clay, place down some cobblestone, break that. When you break the cobblestone, you'll get gravel. Breaking the gravel will then give you sand, and then if you break the sand, again, all of this is done with a hammer. Breaking the sand with a hammer will give you some dust. Put the dust in your crucibles. They should be full of water now. That will give you the clay that you need. It'll give you clay blocks. And what am I doing here? I don't even know. Oh, I'm just sifting some gravel. There's some ore pieces. Don't get too excited though. That's not a piece of ore. It actually takes 4 ore pieces to get an iron ore chunk, and then that one iron ore chunk can finally be cooked up in your furnace into a single iron ingot. This takes a very long time. I'm running out of breath. Can you tell? I haven't talked this quickly in a very long time. Alright, anyway, at this point you might want to build a monster spawner. You need to go a minimum of 24 blocks away from your spawning point, otherwise monsters will not spawn. I would recommend going 30 just to be safe. Again, at least 24. I went ahead and just built a giant box for monsters to spawn in with torches on the roof to keep them from spawning on the roof. You could also just put some more slabs up there to keep them from spawning. I left a small space in the bottom so I could see inside of there and attack them at their feet. If you do this, make sure you don't get too close because as you can see, they will see you. You'll aggro the creepers, they'll blow up. Once you kill enough monsters, you should have some rotten flesh. Build some drying racks like you see me doing here. Place the drying racks anywhere you want to. Put the rotten flesh on there. Over time, that'll turn into jerky. It's not the most nutritious stuff in the world, but if you're starving in the sky, it's better than nothing. Now, once you have the bone meal you need from killing monsters, put the clay down, break the clay to get the clay pieces, combine the clay pieces with some bone meal. That will give you 8 porcelain clay, and you only need 7 to create the unfired crucible. Now you need to fire the crucible by putting it into a furnace. By the way, you can also cook the silkworms if you get super hungry. I wouldn't recommend it though, and that is what the jerky looks like when it's done. Yummy. Now you want to put the crucible down on top of a torch or any other heating element, but early game, you're going to want a torch. And then you're just going to put some cobblestone in there. 4 pieces. Over time, it takes a little while with the torch, but over time will eventually melt down into enough lava for a bucket. And then from that point on, you're going to need to get that bucket, which means you're going to spend a lot of time collecting dirt, sifting dirt to get pebbles, putting the pebbles together to cobblestone, breaking the cobblestone down into gravel, sifting the gravel in the vain hope that maybe you'll get some more iron pieces, 4 of which will make a chunk, and then that one chunk will finally, look at that, see that one chunk? That took forever. You can finally turn that into a single piece of iron. This is going to be the longest process. Now you can make a better string mesh there, and the better string meshes will give you better items. However, if you replace one mesh in a grid, you have to replace them all. They all have to be the same type in order for you to sift them all in one go. At least I think. I haven't actually tried, but I know for a fact it doesn't work if you mix them. Once you have enough iron for the 2 buckets you're going to need, go ahead and collect your water from a crucible. And if you need sand, just break the cobblestone down into gravel, into sand, cook it in the furnace. That's how you get your glass. Get the water from the crucible, get the lava from the other crucible. You got 2 different ones. Finally, build your cobblestone generator. I would recommend placing it a little higher up so that you can put a hopper underneath it later on to automatically pull the cobblestone out. Speaking of automatic, you don't have to do anything to this thing. It just automatically generates cobblestone inside, and then you go and right-click on it, and you will collect that cobblestone. I think it generates about 1 piece for every second, so it's pretty quick, and it won't catch your world on fire. You don't have to do any work. You can go do other things while this is happening. And from that point, you might want to start compressing the cobblestone because you're going to have a lot of cobblestone. Compressed cobblestone can only be broken down with a compressed hammer. You cannot vein mine or whatever the equivalent is with a compressed hammer, but since you are breaking 9 pieces in one go, I think it's a fair trade-off. You can also compress the gravel into compressed gravel, but you can't sift it unless you build a special sieve specifically for compressing the gravel. But you can compress the gravel and break that down into multiple pieces of sand. You can compress the sand, you can compress the dust. It's a really good system, and once you get a little bit closer toward mid-game, it becomes a lot more handy. But folks, that pretty much does it. So with everything you've seen here, you're now ready to go. You know how to get started in the world, you know how to get items, and until next time, I'm going to show you how to automate some things in the next video. It's going to be great. Until then, though, that pretty much summarizes it from here, so just get out there, keep grinding, and do your thing. Now, if you enjoyed this video, consider checking out the video on the left. That's going to be the full version of this. It's about an hour long, but it goes a lot more in-depth and features me being a lot more humorous and not so much out of breath. If you don't think you want to watch that, hey, just subscribe. The next ones will be coming out soon. Until next time, God bless you, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.